Last week, I got back from California driving the new Type S Integra, and I can't share my driving impressions yet. I was actually working on the editing of that video. It's going to be very long and detailed, and that embargo comes the 19th. So June 19th, come back. I'll show you my driving impressions of the Integra Type S. In the meantime, Acura's first electric vehicle is coming by the end of this year. It is called the ZDX. It's a reprise of the nameplate that we had in the early 2010s with the cool futuristic, for its time, coupe-like crossover. And this is going to be based off of the Ultium platform, and these are the spy shots that we're looking at here. And Ultium is General Motors platform. This will be built alongside of the Cadillac Lyriq in Spring Hill, Tennessee. All right, so we have a general outline of the new grille. And if you looked at the Acura Precision Electric concept that I showed off in New York City, we had the Diamond Pentagon grille, but there were like details on the inside that we've never seen before. And so this seems to be unfinished to me. I wouldn't be surprised if we have some sort of ambient lighting, well, not ambient lighting, but like daytime running light stuff going on inside the grille here to kind of set it apart, other than just having a Stormtrooper Superman grille in the middle. Obviously, this is where the huge Acura logo will go. You can actually somewhat see the outline here, and you see the front camera. We know we're going to have parking sensors on it, but this is the first time I think we've seen the lower portion. This is the only part that will let in air. We don't need as much air to feed, or should I say, to cool down the battery system. Now, the headlights are the same headlights we saw in or I guess official images that Acura showed off. These are not going to be the ones that are on the production model. We don't expect a huge departure from the chicane style daytime running lights that we currently have on Acura products. But I think the overall dimensions around the vehicle, like the hood lines and the general proportion of the grille and the bottom part of the bumper, I think this is going to last into production. And this looks pretty substantial here. Of course, the black takes my eyes away, but look at the depth that is added by this little piece on the bottom portion of the white of the bumper. But we're not done there, guys. We have more images, and here we have kind of like the three. Here we have it at an angle, and we got a better idea of the wheels. Don't be surprised, guys. These look like maybe 20-inch wheels. Don't be surprised if we see 21s, 22s on this guy. Now, we have a two-tone going on, at least at the bottom. We have a more rugged, kind of matte-looking paint here at the bottom. That could change, and of course, this could change as well. This is the charging port. Don't expect this to be like an opposite color of what we have on the vehicle. It'll be paint matched, 99% sure. But these roof rails on the top, the glossy black, that seems to be kind of like an industry standard, and that might actually match the glossy black mirrors. We also have glossy black door handles here, and we do not have paint matched wheel arches. That doesn't mean we won't have paint matched wheel arches on some grades or all grades. But yeah, just keep that in mind. Well, the roofline also seems to be incomplete because we have this large kind of reflective bar here. That kind of reminds me, actually, this roofline reminds me a little bit of the RX 350L. Rest in peace. Not really. Like that vehicle can die and bring in the TX, a much better three-row vehicle for Lexus. But that's the vibes I'm getting. Not quite as rounded as an RX 350L or 450L or HL, whatever. A little bit more blocky, but same sort of floating roofline vibes I'm getting from it. And you can see a little bit more depth to the hood here as it pops up over the headlight here. And it kind of reminds me of the Precision EV concept that Acura showed off recently. Looking at it from the side, I think the proportions actually look pretty good here. It does not look like an EV. Because we don't have extremely short overhangs in the front. The back does. Well, my head's kind of in the way. Can I move? Maybe I'll just move that there. Maybe you can see that better. It looks pretty proportionate for a normal gas car. We'll have a really long wheelbase on here. It kind of, the vibes I'm also getting from its stature is like a Subaru Outback wagon sort of vehicle. But these three images are the only ones we have of it uncovered from camouflage, but then we also have some in camouflage here. So looking at the back, of course, you're not going to see any quad tip exhaust like you would see on a Type S. And we will have a Type S available of this vehicle at launch. But now you get a better idea of the tail lights, chicane style tail lights here. And I want to compare their best-selling vehicle, the MDX, to these rear tail lights. Seems like, well, the MDX maybe has just one bar. This might have a double bar. I don't know what else to say. It looks very skinny in the middle as well. And maybe a little bit wider rear tail lights that come all the way almost to the middle compared to the MDX, but it is kind of hard to tell. Man, the MDX design is still just great. Acura did great on that vehicle. A little windshield wiper there. That is a real small windshield wiper, but the window is pretty small as well. It is not tucked underneath the spoiler per se. Looking at it from this angle, I think it looks pretty cool as well. I love the long hood on it. So many EVs nowadays are going for the real snubby look to it, especially on the front end. Some people might like that, but I think the long hood is a classic car design that I don't think will ever go away. Or if it does, it will all be a little bit sad. But that's all the images I have on the ZDX. But I wanted to also bring this up because this is the first ever for the ZDX. It'll be Google built-in standard on the new ZDX, and it'll still feature Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. That's something that General Motor products are not going to feature in their EVs. They're like, oh, here's our Google built-in. You can't use Android Auto and you can't use Apple CarPlay. Even though it's built on the same platform using the same technology, Honda says, no, we know what our customers want, and they're going to keep it in their vehicles. So more than likely, the True Touch interface is gone. The touchpad is gone to adopt a touchscreen only. And that would be great to see in the rest of the Acura products. I don't think anyone really truly likes a True Touch interface because like the Honda screens, the touch screens in the Honda models work great. And no one's asking for a touchpad on those. Heading over to the EV, my EV spreadsheet here. Cadillac and Acura, we have a Lyriq that is going to be the basis of this vehicle. So we know it's going to have a 102 kilowatt hour battery. We'll have a range of anywhere from 275 to 312 miles. And this will be our first rear wheel drive Acura that is not an NSX that I'm aware of. Now, on the rear wheel drive model, we'll have a 340 horsepower. Is there any, I guess the MDX Type S as well as the TLX Type S have 355 horsepower. Those are the most powerful models right now. The Integra Type S has 320 and the NSX Type S will rest in peace, right? So this will be the new flagship in terms of at least straight line performance, especially when you get it in the dual motor. Now, we don't know exactly what the Type S power outputs are going to be. We know the Lyriq has a dual motor 500 horsepower setup. That actually could just be the super handling all-wheel drive variant of the ZDX, and they could swing even further to the fences with the ZDX Type S, because if we look at the Blazer EV SS, that has even more horsepower, 557, 648 pound-feet of torque, and 0 to 60 around 4 seconds. So expect similar performance maybe here as well from the ZDX Type S. If they just keep it at 500 horsepower, I think a lot of people will be happy. But to be honest, since in the General Motors, the Ultium lineup, they have something as potent with over 550 plus horsepower, that would be awesome to see, especially since Kia has a little crossover, the EV6 GT, that has 570 plus horsepower. So these guys are, I would say, direct rivals, even though the Blazer EV SS seems to be a slightly bigger than the EV6. And the reason why it's a tick slower on the Blazer EV SS, as well as potentially the Type S ZDX, is because it's a large battery pack. So we're getting 290 miles even on the Blazer EV SS compared to the 200 miles or so that we see on the EV6 GT. But smaller battery pack means better cornering performance and better straight line performance as well. But yeah, can't wait to see what the official specs of the ZDX Type S as well as the standard ZDX models is going to be. I think that from what I'm seeing of the SUV so far, it's very handsome. Not coming as a surprise after driving the Integra Type S. It's a really hot car. And then you have the MDX Type S, which looks amazing. Even the standard MDX looks great. The RDX is a coin flip for me. Sometimes I think it looks good. Other angles, it's whatever. But I have high hopes for the ZDX Type S. I think Honda and Acura will want to do it right with their first EV as much as possible. And then we know over time, in 2025 and 2026, they'll have their own dedicated platform building EVs here in North America with their own battery plant. And that's going to change the game for them as well. They don't have to build on General Motors assembly lines after 2025, 2026. But I wouldn't be surprised if the ZDX lives on for a while alongside of them, just because they probably have some sort of deal worked out where ZDX will be produced for 5 years or something like that at the Spring Hill, Tennessee plant. But I got to shut it down. Thank you guys for watching. Can't wait to see in the comments and your thoughts. If you're excited for Acura's first electric vehicle, the ZDX, smash the like button. Have a great day and peace.